There are two things that are very common in India: big extended families living together, and soap operas based on big extended families living together. Every day at 10 p.m., all of the television sets in my neighborhood would be watching Kahani Ghar Ghar Ki, which literally translates to Story of Every Household. Then at 10:30 p.m. back to back, there'll be another show called Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, translating to Because the Mother-in-Law was once the daughter-in-law. This was the story of the Virani family. The Virani family had chandeliers in their living room, not one. They had lockers full of cash in their bedroom. They had power struggles between the women in the kitchen. The families watching them on TV had one of those things: the power struggles in the kitchen. My family was no exception. My grandmom thought she was our executive chef. She never entered the kitchen. She would just sit in the living room watching TV and shout instructions. Make sure to cook the rice on medium flame. Better be soft today. Denture still hurt from yesterday. My aunt thought she was our executive chef. Every day she'd ask us what we'd like for dinner. Every day she would ignore our preferences and make potato curry. My mom was the youngest, had no experience or interest in running a kitchen, yet she thought she was better equipped to be the executive chef. Every now and then, she would introduce a multicolored salad on the menu, which would spike the groceries bill and spite the other two women. I've developed a sense of humor about my family dynamics, but I was a sensitive kid. I trembled at the slightest hint of dissent, fearing that war can break out anytime. And my anxiety wasn't misplaced. I mean, I had seen countless conversations between my family's adults go from "what's for dinner today" to "eat shit." Our neighbors would abandon their TV sets and be watching us from the sidelines, but this wasn't a TV show for us. For me, this was real life. My 10-year-old self didn't like the foul language, raised voices, or even the quiet tears of the people I loved. And I loved my big family. I liked living together. Birthdays were special. My aunt would make her signature dal makhani for all our birthdays. It was a staple dish. Festivals were extra special. My grandparents would buy a variety of sweets. They kept track of everyone's favorites. But special occasions aside, I felt that my grandmom was generally unhappy. Your mom and your aunt are trying to kill me. Your aunt put too much salt in the food, shoots up my blood pressure. I think my aunt was also unhappy. Nobody gives a damn about how hard I work. I'm all alone, she would complain. And I sensed that my mom couldn't have been happy either. I heard her say to Dad once, "I don't have any freedom here. But I can't be fighting all the time because, look, it affects our daughters." So I discovered that my anxiety wasn't as well hidden as I thought it was. One day, after a particularly dramatic battle, my dad declared there is going to be a separation. My mom, dad, my sister, and I would have a separate kitchen. What? I thought, so we're going to separate, but we're not moving out, we're just cooking separately? What does that mean? How does that make sense? How does that work? We had a small kitchen attached to our bedroom, which was being used as storage area, but it had potential, so my mom and dad started to clean it up. But wait, I don't understand. What does this change? It changes nothing, my parents said to me. Your grandparents are still your grandparents. Your uncle and aunt are still your uncle and aunt. Well, yeah, I get that, but that doesn't answer my question. I had so many questions. Are we not going to eat together anymore? Am I not allowed to go to the kitchen? The main kitchen, am I not allowed to go in there? And can I only eat what my mom cooks? She's gonna make me salad every day. So many questions, but I chose not to pursue them. Everyone was too angry at that time. Within a couple of days, our new kitchen was up and running. The gas connection was restored, it was stocked up with groceries, and mom started spending hours in the kitchen. She made something new every day. She was experimenting, but she called it the balanced diet. I wasn't a fan, but look, I wasn't going to complain. Other than the fact that we had different food on our plate and we ate in the bedroom instead of the living room, everything else was normal. And I liked normal. And one day I got back from school and I was really hungry, so I ran straight to the kitchen. The main kitchen. I'd hung out there for years when my mom and my aunt would be cooking. I knew where everything was, I knew where the tea was kept, I knew where the sugar was, I knew where the snacks were hidden. But that day it felt different. Everything felt out of reach, like I wasn't supposed to be there. I also knew that there was a particularly delicious box of milk cakes sitting there in the fridge. I couldn't resist. I reached for the fridge. What's the worst that could happen? And then I imagined all the adults in my family yelling at each other over my mistake while the neighbors abandoned their TV sets to peep on us and enjoy the soap opera right in front of them. No, I wasn't going to destroy the peace for a piece of cake. Abandoned that plan, I ran straight to my mom and demanded that we keep our tiny fridge stocked up with sweets as well. I thought that they were very strict border restrictions between our two kitchens. But I soon discovered that that wasn't the case. It was more of a free trade situation. My cousin would join us for dinners every weekend because he preferred my mom's curries. See, my mom would make curries with onion. For whatever reason, onions were not allowed in the main kitchen. I don't know, ask them. I didn't have to eat potato curries every day, but my aunt continued to make her signature dal makhani for all our birthdays, so yay. My dad started to help out in the kitchen, something he had never done in the main kitchen before. And my grandma, she made it a habit of asking me every day, so, what did your mom make for dinner today? Regardless of whatever I said, she concluded whatever I ate was better than whatever she was served. So she was happy for me. The fighting amongst the adults didn't stop. I mean, there were plenty of other reasons to fight. But something had changed. I don't know if it was the separation, or maybe it was the passage of time, or maybe it was just me growing up, but I felt less anxious about it. That's when I started to joke about it. Every day at 10:30 p.m., my grandmom, my mom, and my aunt would be watching Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi. And when the episode ended, all three of them had a different recap. My grandmom would say, "Daughter-in-law should burn in hell. Look how she tortured the poor mother-in-law today." My aunt would say, "Mother-in-law is causing so much tension between the poor daughter-in-law and the son." And then my mom would say, "Oh, these women are so nasty, but their husbands are cute."